Chapter 38. How all Sir Dietrich's warriors were slain. On every side one heard grief so great, that the palace and the towers rang with the wailing. Then the liegeman of Dietrich heard it too. How quickly he gan haste him with the fearful tales. To the lording he spoke, Hear, my lord, Sir Dietrich, however much I've lived to see till now, yet heard I never such a monstrous wail as now hath reached mine ears. I ween King Etzel himself hath come to grief. How else might all be so distressed? One of the twain, the king or Kriemhild, hath surely been laid low by the brave strangers in their wrath. Full many a dapper warrior weeping, passing sore. Then spake the knight of Borne, My faithful men, now haste ye not too fast. Whatever the homeless warriors may have done, they be now in mickle need. Let it profit them that I did offer them my peace. At this brave Wolfhart spoke, I will hie my hence and ask for tidings of what they have done, and will tell you then, my most dear lord, just as I find it, what they vail might be. Then spake Sir Dietrich, Where one awaiteth wrath, and rude questions then are put, this doth lightly sadden the lofty mood of warriors. In truth I will not, Wolfhart, that ye ask these questions of them. Then he told Helfrich to hasten thither speedily, and bid him find from Etzel's men, or from the guests themselves, what there had fortuned, for men had never seen from folk so great a grief. The messenger gain asked, What hath been done? At this one among them spake, Whatever of joy we had in the Hunnish land hath passed away. Here lieth Rudiger, slain by Burgundian hand, and of those who were come with him, not one hath escaped alive. Sir Helfrich could never have had a greater dole. Sorely weeping, the envoy went to Dietrich. Never was he so loth to tell a tale. What have you found for us? Quoth he, Dietrich. Why weep you so sore, knight Helfrich? Then spake the noble champion, I have good cause for vail. The Burgundians have slain the good Sir Rudiger. At this the hero of Bern made answer, Now God forgive, that were a fearful vengeance over which the foul fiend would gloat. Wherewhither hath Rudiger deserved this at their hands? I know full well, forsooth, he is the stranger's friend. To this Wolfhart answered, And have they done this deed, 'twill cost them all their lives. 'Twould be our shame, should we let this pass, for of a truth the hand of the good knight Rudiger hath served us much and oft. The lord of the Amlungs bade learn it better. In bitter grief he sat him at a window and begged Hildebrand to hide him to the strangers, that he might find from them what had been done. The storm-brave warrior, Master Hildebrand, bare neither shield nor weapon in his hand. In courtly wise he would hie him to the strangers. For this he was chided by his sister's son. Grim Wolfhart spake, And ye will go thither so bare, ye will never fare without unbraiding. Ye must return with shame, but if ye go there armed, each will guard against the well. Then the wise man armed him, though the counsel of the youth. Or ever he was ware, all Dietrich's warriors had donned their war weeds, and held in their hands their swords. Loth it was to the hero, and we would have gladly turned their mind. He asked whether they would go. We will hence with you. Perchance Hagen of Tronig then will dare the less to address him to you with scorn, which full well he knoweth how to use. When he heard this, the knight vouchsafed them for to go. Soon brave Folker saw the champions of Bern, the liegemen of Dietrich, march along, well armed, begirt with swords, while in their hands they bare their shields. He told it to his lords from out the Burgundian land. The fiddler spake, Yonder I see the men of Dietrich march along, in right and hostile wise, armed cap a pie. They would encounter us. I ween 'twill go full ill with us strangers. Meanwhile Sir Hildebrand was come. Before his feet he placed his shield, and gan asked Gunther's men, Alas, good heroes, what had Rudiger done you? My lord Dietrich hath sent me hither to you to say, that if the hand of any among you hath slain the noble Margrave, as we are told, we could never stand such a mighty dole. Then spake Hagen of Trondhjem, the tale is true. How gladly could I wish that the messenger had told you false, for Rudiger's sake, and that he still did live, for whom both man and wife may well ever weep. When they heard aright that he was dead, the warriors made wail for him, as their fealty bade them. Over the beards and chains of Dietrich's champions, the tears were seen to run. Great grief had happened to them. Sigstab, the Duke of Bern, then spake, Now hath come to an end the cheer that Rudiger did give us after our days of dole. The joy of all wayfaring folk lieth slain by you, sir knights. Then spake Knight Wulfwin of the Amulungs, And I saw mine own father dead today, I should not make greater dole than for his death. Alas, who shall now comfort the good Margrave's wife? Angry of mood, Knight Wulfhart spake, Who shall now lead the warriors to so many a fight, as the Margrave so oft hath done? Alas, most noble Rudiger, that we should lose thee thus. Wulfbran and Hilfric and Helmnot too, with all their men bewailed his death. For sighing Hildebrand might no longer ask a whit. He spake, Sir knights, now do what my lord hath sent you here to do. Give us the corse of Rudiger from the hall, in whom our joy hath turned to grief, and let us repay to him the great fealty he hath shown to us, and to many another man. We too be exiles, just as Rudiger the knight. Why do ye let us wait thus? Let us bear him way, that ye may yet requite the knight in death. More justly had we done it, than he was still alive. Then spake King Gunther, Never was there so good a service as that, which friend doth do to friend after his death. When any doth that, I call it faithful friendship. Ye repay him but rightly, for much love hath he ever shown you. How long shall we still beseech, spake Knight Wulfhart, sith our best hope hath been laid low in death by you, and we may no longer have him with us? Let us bear him hence to where the warrior may be buried. To this Folker made answer, None will give him to you. Fetch ye him from the hall where the warrior lieth, fallen in the blood with mortal wound. 'Twill then be perfect service, which ye yender Rudiger. Quoth brave Wulfhart, God wot, sir minstrel, ye have given us great dole, and should not rouse our ire. But that I dost not fear for my lord, ye should all fare ill. We must perforce abstain, sith he forbade us strife. Then spake the fiddler, He hath a deal too much fear, who doth abstain from all that one forbiddeth him, that I call not real heroes mood. This speech of his war comrade thought Hagen good. Long not for that, answered Wulfhart, or I'll play such havoc with your fiddle strings, that you'll have cause to tell the tale. When ye ride homeward to the Rhine, I cannot brook and honour your overweening pride. Then quoth the fiddler, If ye put out of tune my strings, then must the gleam of your helmet grow dim from this hand of mine, whoever I ride to the Burgundian land. Then would he leap at him, but his uncle Hildebrand grasped him firmly. I ween thou wouldst rage in thy silly anger, then hadst thou lost forever the favour of my lord. Let go the lion, master, he is so fierce of mood, quoth Knight Folker. Had he slain the whole world with his one hand, I'll smite him, and he come within my reach, so that he may never sing the answer to my song. At this the men of Bern waxed pazing wroth of mood. Wulfhart, a doughty knight and good, snatched up his shield, and like a wild lion he ran to meet him, swiftly followed by his friends. But howsoever great the strides he took towards hall, yet did old Hildebrand overtake him at the steps. He would not let him reach the fray before him. At the hands of the homeless knights they later found the strife they sought, and Master Hildebrand then sprang at Hagen. In the hands of both one heard the swords ring out. That both were angry might be plain seen. From the sword of the train streamed forth a blast of fire-red sparks. Then they were parted in the stress of battle by the men of Bern, as their strength did bid them. At once Hildebrand turned him away from Hagen, but stout Wulfhart addressed him to Folker the bold. Such a blow he smote the fiddler upon his good helm, that the sword's edge pierced the very helmet bands. This the bold gleeman repaid with might, and he smote Wolfhart, so that the sparks flew wide. In now of fire they struck from armor rings, for each bare hatred to the other. Then knight Wulfrin of Bern did part then, and he be not a hero, never was there one. With willing hand Gunther the champion greeted the heroes of the Amling land. Lord Grisler made many a gleaming helmet red, and wrought with blood. Dankwart, Hagen's brother, a fierce man was he. Whatever he had done before to Ethel's warriors in strife was at wind to the fury with which bold Alderin's son now fought. Ritzkart and Gerbert, Helfrich and Witchart, had spared themselves full seldom in many battle storms. This they now made Gunther's liegemen note full well. Wulfbrand, too, was seen in the strife bearing him in lordly wise, and old Hildebrand fought as though he raged. At Wulfhart's hands many good knights, struck by the sword, must needs fall dead down by into the blood. Thus the bold champions and good avenged knight Rudiger. Then Lord Siegsteb fought as his prowess bade him. Ho, what good helmets of his foes this son of Dietrich's sisters clove in with his strife! Nor might he ever do better in the fray. When sturdy Folker espied that bold Siegsteb hewed a bloody stream from the hard and armored rings, wroth of mood this hero grew. He sprang to meet him, and Siegsteb lost his life full soon at the fiddler's hands. For Folker gave him such a sample of his art that he soon lay dead, slain by his sword. This old Hildebrand avenged, as his might did bid him. Alas for my dear lord, spake Master Hildebrand, who lieth here dead at Folker's hands. Now shall the fiddler no longer live. How might bold Hildebrand ever be fiercer? Folker he smote, so that on all sides the clasps flew to the walls of the hall, from helmet and shield to the doughty gleeman. Thus stout Folker was done to death. At this the men of Dietrich pressed forward to the strife. They smote so that the armor rings whirled far and wide, and high through the air the sword ports were seen to fly. From the helmets they drew the warm gushing stream of blood. When Hagen of Tronig saw Folker die, that was the greatest of his sorrow, that he had gained at the feasting in kinsmen or in liegemen. Alas, how fiercely Hagen gained venge that night! Now old Hildebrand shall not profit by his deed. My helpmate lieth slain by hero's hand, the best war comrade that I ever did win. Higher he raised his helmet, and ran, slashing as he went, and stout Hilfrich slew Dankwart. Lo, and now it was to Gunther and Gisla, when they saw him fall in cruel need, but with his own hands he himself had avenged his death. Meanwhile Wulfhart raged back and forth, hewing away at King Gunther's men. For the third time he was come through the hall, and many a warrior fell, struck by his hand. Then Lord Grisler cried out to Wulfhart, Alas, that I ever gained so grim a foe! Noble knight and brave, now address you unto me. I'll help to make an end, this may be no longer. At this Wulfhart turned him in strife to Grisler, and each smote the other many a gaping wound. He pressed so mighty toward the king, that the blood beneath his feet spurted high above his head. With grim and fearful blows the son of fair Uta then greeted the brave knight Wulfhart. However strong the warrior, he might not save his life. Never could so young a king have been more brave, and Wulfhart he smote through his stout hauberk, that his blood streamed down from wound, and unto death he wounded Dietrich's liegeman. None save champion had done such deed. When brave Wulfhart felt the wound, he let fall his shield, and lifted higher in his hand his mighty sword, and sharp enow it was, and through both helmet and armor rings the hero smote Grisler. Thus each did other fiercely unto death. Now was none left of Dietrich's men, and old Hildebrand saw Wulfhart fall. Never before his death, I ween, did such dole happen to him. The men of Gunther all lay dead, and those of Dietrich too, and Hildebrand hied him to where Wulfhart had fallen in the gore, and clasped in his arms the brave knight and good. He would fain bear him from the hall, but he was a deal too heavy, and so he must needs let him lie. When the dying warrior looked upward from the blood in which he lay, well he saw that his uncle would fain help him hence, and though wounded unto death he spake, Dear uncle mine, ye may not aid me now. 'Tis well, methinks, that ye should guard ye against Hagen. A fierce mood he beareth in his heart, and if perchance any kinsman would mourn me after I am dead, pray tell the nearest and the best that they weep not for me. There is no need of that. At the hands of a king I have met a glorious death, and have also venged me on him, so that the wives of good knights may well bewail it. If any ask you of this, ye may boldly say that fell 100 lay slain by my hand alone. Then Hagen too betrothed him of the gleeman, whom bold Hildebrand had robbed of life. To the knight he spake, Well do you quit me now my sorrows. Through your hatred ye have bereft us of many a lusty night. And then he dealt Hildebrand such a blow that men heard Balmung ring, with which bold Hagen had taken from the Siegfried when he slew the knight. Then the old man warded him. In sooth he was brave enow, and Dietrich's champion struck with broadsword that cut full sore at the hero of the Tronig, but could not wound King Gunther's liegeman. Hagen, however, smote him through his well-brought hauberk, and when old Hildebrand felt the wound, he feared more scathe at Hagen's hand. His shield he slung across his back, and thus Sir Dietrich's man escaped from Hagen, though sorely and fully wounded. Now of all the knights none was alive save the twain, Gunther and Hagen alone. Dripping with blood, old Hildebrand went to where he found Dietrich, and told him the baleful tale. He saw him sitting sadly, but much more of dole the prince now gained. He spied Hildebrand in his blood-red hauberk, and asked him tidings as his fears did prompt him. Now tell me, Master Hildebrand, how be ye so wrought with your life-blood? Pray, who hath done you this? I ween you have fought with the strangers in the hall. I forbade it you so sorely, that you should justly have avoided it. Then he said to his lord, 'Twas Hagen that did it. He dealt me this wound in the hall, when I would fain have turned him from the knight. I scarcely escaped this devil with my life. Then spake the Lord of Bern, Rightly hath it happed you, for that ye have broken the peace, for which I had sworn. Sith ye did hear me vow friendship to these knights, were it not mine everlasting shame, you would lose your life. My lord Dietrich, now be not so wroth. The damage to my friends and me is already great. Fain would we have carried Rudiger's corse away, but King Gunther's liegeman would not grant it to us. Oh, woe is me of these sorrows! If Rudiger then be dead, 'twill bring me greater dole than all of my woe. Noble Gottlin is the child of my father's sister. Alas for the poor orphan, that he be now in Bechlaren. Rudiger's death now minded him of ruth and dole, and mightily the warrior gan wept. In sooth he had good cause. Alas for this faithful comrade who I have lost. In truth I shall ever mourn for King Etzel's liegeman. Can ye tell me, Master Hildebrand, true tidings? Who be the knight that hath slain him there? Quoth he, Stout Gernot did, with might and main, but the hero too fell dead at Rudiger hand. Then he spake to Hildebrand, Pray say to my men that they arm them quickly, for I will hie them hither, and bid them make ready my shining battle weeds. I myself will question the heroes of Burgundian land. Then spake Master Hildebrand, Who then shall join you? Whatso of living men ye have, ye see stand by you. 'Tis I alone, the others, they be dead. He started at this tale. Forsooth he had good cause, for never in his life had he gained so great a grief. He spake, And are my men all dead? Then hath God forgotten me. Poor Dietrich, once I was a lordly king, mighty, high, and rich. Again Sir Dietrich spake, How could it hap that all the worshipful heroes die at the hands of the battle-weary, who were themselves hard-pressed? Were it not for mine ill luck, death were still a stranger to them. Sith then mine evil fortune would have it so. Pray tell me, are any of the strangers still alive? Then spake Master Hildebrand, God wet, none other save only Hagen and Gunther, the high-born king. Alas, dear Wolfhart, and I have lost thee too. Then may it well rue me that I ever was born. Siegsteb and Wulfwind and Wulfbrand too, who then shall help me to the Amlang land? Both Hildfric hath he, too, he been slain, and Golbert and Vihat. How shall I ever mourn for them in fitting wise? This day doth for ever end my joy. Alas, that none may die for very grief.